Hello everyone, Drew Wilson of Your Era Gamer here, and today we are back with another episode of Things I Did in Minecraft. And we are back at the main base, and there's a few things I wanted to showcase, but first the big one, which moves the game forward. I created this doorway here. And behind this doorway is a nice long hallway. And yeah, I was getting some stuff out of this, but the main thing I was building is a giant nether portal. I wanted to make a nice round giant nether portal, and I was kind of going for, I don't know, a Stargate kind of aesthetic to it. And I was trying to figure out what I'm going to build this nether portal with. And I realized, like, I have a ton of copper and no real use for it. So I may as well use it. So I created these iron doors. I used some of my redstone to create a signal to the doors there. And I used that switch to open this up. So yeah, this took me a bit of time to do, and it was especially annoying because I thought this was kind of out of the way, but I ultimately kind of ran into my minecart system above a couple times. So yeah, it took me a bit to kind of configure out a good way of doing this, and hey, I actually got this, so I was able to get into the nether realm. So I really didn't want anything destroying this, and I didn't want anything randomly walking inside, so I did a whole bunch of like slabs, because I thought, well, torches will do it, but then I realized torches don't necessarily prevent enemies from spawning, so I put a whole bunch of slabs down, and I created myself this guy here and a crafting table. And I thought, well, I'm sure I'm gonna find some things with this entry. So started moving around, and this was the weirdest forest ever. It was nothing but mushrooms. And I thought maybe I'd find something here. There's some piglins. And this is what I ran into. Nothing but lava lake everywhere. Literally everywhere. So I find myself in a giant floating island, and I didn't want to get myself lost, so I started creating these slabs to kind of give myself a chance to figure out where I'm going around here. There is some area up here, but again, it's all just floating above the lava lakes. So there wasn't necessarily a whole lot I found over here. So anyway, like, this is generally what I found. I did find some quartz and stuff like that, and I would later find out that there's some use for quartz, specifically nether quartz. So we're gonna go back to the overworld, and the netherworld is a fairly dangerous place, so I generally, unless I have a reason to be in there, I try and avoid going there for the time being. So we're going to go back out here and showcase at least one of the projects I had. One of the things I could build was this thing called an observer stone. And that's this guy right here. And I thought an observer stone would, you know, get set off by walking in front of it because it's observing, right? Well, it really doesn't do anything. So I created this piston, and apparently it's whatever is updated in terms of blocks in front of the observer stone that finally triggers. So I created this switch, and sure enough, it works. It activates this light that I made. So I thought, alright, I'm going to need something that actually presses this button. So I thought, well, I would create another piston that would push down on this, and that would press the button, and that would set off this other piston, setting off the observer stone, and setting off the light. Well, that obvious for those who know how contraptions work, that didn't work. So it just broke that. So I created a loop somewhat similar to what you see here, but it was all flat, and I thought I would get it going really fast, the cart, and set off the button to set off the light so I can create a blinking light. That didn't necessarily work because I didn't have enough speed. So I elevated things so that it could fall on there, just barely clip that. And I created a sort of blinking light. See if I can get the whole thing in frame here. There we go. And it does the job, but I mean, it's not really consistent necessarily, but you know what? I kind of counted that as a win. I actually managed to figure all this out on my own. And the quartz was able to give me this observer stone to actually make this whole thing possible as well. And some dust to create the light. So I was very happy with that. So that was my first major contraption. I made a few more, but they're elsewhere. I also, while I'm here, I made myself a enchantment table, and I put a whole bunch of like books around this and everything, and I'm able to give myself enchantments and stuff like that. So that was always really cool. So it's been a while since I've done a recording. I've been recording a bunch at a time and then posting them afterwards, and I've been pretty busy since then with all the things I've been doing. So we're gonna go back to the tree farm to showcase the progress I made, because I actually made a lot of progress. And I mean a lot. It wasn't just a couple of trees. It's not a couple of trees anymore. It's a whole bunch of trees. So here we are. I should change that sign from grassland to tree farm, but anyway. I had a whole bunch of oak. I kind of replaced a few. I found a system where, because these things were going really low to the ground and made it impossible to move around, so I figured I would put a whole bunch of dirt here, put the sapling here, just to see if it would make it grow taller, and sure enough it does. So that's the setup with just the sapling in the dirt. Generally I need more bone meal, but I haven't really bone mealed that thing yet. But anyway, I have the usual cherry tree stuff, and I expanded this way. I have dark oak, and this required a 2x2 grid of saplings, as it turned out. And I added this glowberries farm because I thought, you know what, I have this giant hill here, I may as well make use of that. And so I got that going. I don't even know exactly how many uses glowberries have, but I have that. I also added mangrove. I added a few dirt things, but I thought the main thing was that there's a good source of water, and that's what I have here. And moving on, I created this bamboo thing because I found a whole bunch of bamboo, and I thought I'll grow a nice bamboo farm as well if I need it. And of course I have a whole bunch of light. And pale oak. Holy mackerel, was this hard to find. And it was actually a miracle I found this at all. But like the regular oak from back there, requires a 2x2 grid. And I got a whole bunch of pale oak. And huge fungus, which I got from the Netherworld. Yes, I did find a crimson forest as well. So evidently I needed a thing called silk touch to mine this stuff here, and then I could grow these things. And of course I had to bone meal this as well. I was a little worried I accidentally destroyed my minecart system up there, but turns out it was just fine. So I got 4 of the twisted stuff and 4 of the crimson stuff, so I got a complete collection of that. And a complete miracle, I found azalea, which is just oak with flowers on it, but man was this hard to find. But I just randomly encountered this at one point, and I was like, I don't remember seeing this tree before, so I got as many sprouts as possible. This absolutely requires bone meal to grow, though. It doesn't grow on its own. So that is that one side here. And this is all expansion since the previous video that I showed. I've built everything you see since then. But going back this way, it's gonna take a bit to get back here because this thing is it's so big. I actually got to this other stop just about on the Skytrain, the first Skytrain system I ever built. So I created this stairwell here, and I got some acacia trees. These are really easy to find. I have a lot of savanna. And then I got some spruce from the mountains. And yeah, it's a little bit of a pain to navigate around because they kind of grew in ways I wasn't entirely expecting, but I found a way to work around that. But the thing is, with spruce, you can actually do something else, which is where this path leads. And you can go 2 by 2 and create giant spruce. And as you could tell, I created a tree fort. I thought trees that are that large, I may as well. So I kept building, added some glass as well to kind of complete the look. It wasn't perfect, but it was something anyway. And I spiraled up this stairwell. I created this huge area here with all the spare spruce wood that I had. And I added a second floor to this tree fort. And I thought maybe I could grow like I don't know, a garden or something like that up here. But the cool thing was, you can actually see my giant tree farm and just how big it is. You can even see that stop I showed in an earlier video that goes to the failed thing there. But anyway, I wanted to show one more thing if I could. I have a minute or so left. The rest of the tree farm. No, that wasn't all of it. I still have more. So moving back down here, I'm going to ignore that zombie. I had a few more species of tree to plant, so I could at least have a source of them. And I ran out of space in this side of the tree farm, so I started growing the other direction. And one of them was the mushrooms. Not all of them grew, but most of them grew. It's a little annoying because enemies spawn here, but it requires darkness. But yeah, I got the red one and the gray one, brown one I guess. And then I found jungle, so I grew them in a 2 by 2 grid, and they really grew. I was not expecting them to be that big, but they seriously grew. There is 3 that didn't quite grow, but that's the configurations you should have them in. I think it's mostly because of the shade from the other trees that's not growing. This wasn't there before when I was trying to grow that, but it didn't make a difference, so I don't think that played a role. And I started thinking, alright, maybe I should have nether portals for all the major stops I have on my route. And I didn't want to just have a standard nether portal just randomly in a location. I wanted to make it a kind of a part of a theme. So I built this giant tire swing. And again, I had to secure it, so I had to put the glass around it. I didn't like the glass necessarily. I thought I could do better without, but the glass had to come in just in case something managed to make its way through. So yeah, even got the chain and everything. Created this fake tree here. Yes, that is a fake tree. I built it with logs. And this leads to another stop in the nether portal. So I secured the area, put those down. Again, it's just nothing but ocean of lava and that sort of thing for the most part. I was able to get some glowstone, but that was about it. But anyway, that is all for the video. Went on way too long as it is, so I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, what is your era?